What's up, everybody? Ramey here, otherwise known as Dr. Ray, and today in this video we are talking about, will AI replace the e-learning developer? And if so, do I think that's going to happen now, later, or what? Like, what's going on? So first of all, let me just say that I have spent so many hours, every single day hours, in various AI tools over the last 6 to 8 months, like tons. Since ChatGPT came out, I have been using just a bunch of that tool and a bunch of different tools for so many different things, testing them out, seeing what they're good for, seeing how they can work, see how they can lighten my workload, see what I can do with them, see how I can use them to write this or create that or do this. I've been using them for everything, not just for fun, but to actually use them to work. I've been using them a lot. I can't believe sometimes I spent all day utilizing something to help me write or do whatever. I've been using them a lot. And I've been paying attention. I love, technology, and been watching AI forever and all the cool tools. My company has been using AI tools for text to speech and stuff like that for 2 years now. I've been using tools when I can. So we're going to talk about whether I think and what kind of that process is. Do I think AI is going to replace the e-learning developer? So my first response to that question is that I get a little confused by the question. So let's start out with this at the most basic level. Before AI replaces the e-learning developer, AI will need to create presentations. So we're not at the point where I'm going to use AI instead of PowerPoint. So PowerPoint, as you all know, is the lowest form of e-learning development. Not even a basic form. It's really the lowest form. Unless we talk about Microsoft Word. PowerPoint is the most basic thing we've got, right? To give stand-up presentations. We can kind of do some generic e-learning development with it, maybe. You can. I think PowerPoint's a lot more powerful than people give it credit for. And we can use it sometimes, but it's really on the low end of our tools. We are not at the point where AI is replacing PowerPoint. So when someone says AI is going to replace e-learning in the next 6 months or the next year, I'm you know what? I don't think we're there. I don't think we're as close as people thought. I think when ChatGPT was first released, I think people were oh my God, this is amazing. Now that I've been using it for 8 months, I'm amazed by it. Absolutely, I think it's amazing, but I'm not in that same mind frame that I was when I first started using it. So do I think that we're going to just all out replace e-learn? It's not just going to be happening. This isn't something that's going to happen overnight. You're not going to wake up and be e-learning's done. We've got this, that's it. I think we're going to start to see this in stages. So the first thing that needs to happen is there needs to be a presentation tool out there. We're going to replace PowerPoint. Either PowerPoint's going to become, when I see AI, when I see that we are no longer using PowerPoint because we're using AI tool, then I'm going to say next step is e-learning. We're not at the point where PowerPoint is being replaced, or Microsoft will probably be the one to replace PowerPoint with an AI version of PowerPoint. But most likely what we're going to see, and what we are actually seeing right now, is AI is being integrated into PowerPoint to help us. We've already had that for years. AI isn't a new thing, some of these tools, what we've had, help from the computer, where it can learn and see what we're doing and try to make it better. It's not a new thing. It's getting more powerful and progressing. But my first thing you have to think about is when you're going to start to really, really be concerned about AI replacing you is seeing a really good, excellent, awesome version of PowerPoint that's AI controlled. That's when I start to say, okay, we're at the lowest level of e-learning. And that's where the first step is going to happen. And I do think that in the next maybe 6 months, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, definitely in the next 5 years, we will see a version of PowerPoint, the lowest level of e-learning, 100% done via AI. Definitely, where I can enter in my text or even tell it my topic. It's going to spit out a cool presentation that I can use with like, and I can say, and when I don't just mean like spit out a presentation, because like ChatGPT spits out content right now. I mean like I can say to it, add, this kind of transition to every single slide. On this slide, add this kind, and I'm just going to be able to type it in. Like I'm not going to have to do anything. And do this animation on this slide, and it's going to know, and it's going to do that without me having to like do it in PowerPoint, like all the steps. Or like go ahead and add a next button to every slide in PowerPoint. Like it's going to fully take over all the good stuff the PowerPoint does. Once I see that happening, then I'm going to say, okay, we're getting further. But until that happens, before we even get there, so this is before we get to AI taking over PowerPoint, because that's like a big step. We're not there yet. Like we're not even at pieces of that yet. So let me kind of get there where we are. So the first thing, AI needs to get better at, well, we've now finally have like some okay to decent image creation tools. So like to create PowerPoint and other stuff like that, especially like e-learning that's like a company owns, proprietary, or that they can sell. Like we need better AI integration tools, like creation tools. And not only do we need better AI tools that create images, because they are coming, and I've been playing around with a bunch, and there's some really good ones that are like doing a good job creating my images now. Problem is copyright with those. So like when I start talking about like creating e-learning courses and courses I could sell and courses for companies, if there are problems with copyright with the AI generated images, all of a sudden that's like a big like big red X and like me moving further to like e-learning development. Now we're going to run into the same thing with like music, like when I tell it to generate music. So we got to get past this, like there's this big like copyright barrier that needs to be figured out in courts. Not for me or you to decide, but it's got to be figured out. Once that's figured out, then we're able to move past that stage. All right. Next thing is we've got to get the writing portion. Now, ChatGPT and Google Bard do a good job of writing to an extent. But for those of you that have been paying attention to, for those of you using them for writing a lot, you probably have the same feelings I do. They're kind of not that good at writing. While they're great at like, hey, create a list of this, create a course on like, create a list of objectives and a course on like human resource management. They can do that. Here's the problem. As an instructional designer, I'm not an expert on human resources management like the list and objectives. I still need to send that to a SME to be checked. Why? Because ChatGPT makes stuff up and it's wrong a lot, surprisingly. I'm finding like it's wrong all the time. I will ask it factual questions and it'll tell me, I'll ask it the same factual question 3 different times and it'll give me 3 different answers. That's extremely problematic when I'm trying to use this professionally and teach people stuff. I can't be teaching wrong information. The next question is it's inherently biased about certain things. Like you can trick it to say like all kind, and it does some really weird stuff. There's some really weird stuff happening. Just to give you an example, like these lawyers were trying to use it for to help them prepare their briefing for their trial, and it was making up court cases, and they got in trouble for citing those court cases that weren't real. Like it literally makes up information. So, and it's designed to be a writing tool. Like it's designed for text and writing. So it's not perfect. And it's not that it's not perfect, it's that there's a lot of problems with it. So here's the issue with it. Right now, like we're talking about creating full e-learning. I can't even get it to the main tool, ChatGPT or Bard, to write stuff correctly. Every time it writes something, I've got to check it, or a SME's got to check it. I've got to check it for grammar, content accuracy, and a SME's got to definitely check it for content accuracy. So I'm still going through these steps. Like I haven't bypassed steps that I had in the ID process. So that's frustrating. Next, we've got other things it's got to do. Like it's got to have like text to speech. Now, we've got like good companies out there, like Well Said Labs is one we've been using, and I really like it for text to speech, but it's still not 100% perfect. And there's going to be people who prefer people at this point. It's not 100%. Like most of my clients are using Well Said now, but like we still have some that like people, and I get it because Well Said is not perfect. So like we've got a lot of work. And then that's not even getting into like the technical aspect of like connecting it to an LMS and all that stuff. But I think that's going to come. Then we get into like all the interactions and like defining interactions. And I think that like some of that development is going to be easy stuff for AI to handle when I can like tell them. But there's still going to be a lot of work on my end, like making sure that it like when I have like like a matching exercise, like is it going to know what to match up correctly, and how much work is that still going to put on me? Maybe I won't have to program it anymore. Maybe I won't have to use like scripts or anything like that, but I'm still going to have to be hands-on in it to make it correct. And then we've got like, you know, AI creating videos, which we're getting there. Like that's starting to happen. We're not there yet, but like that's coming, and I'm hopeful for that. And other components, like when I have to write like JavaScript for Articulate or something like that. So I've done a bunch of testing of programming in ChatGPT, and it's okay. It messes up like 80% of the time I ask it to write a script. And I have tried to get it to write like scripts correctly a lot, and it can't do it. It can do like it does basic stuff well, and sometimes it like has the logic correct, but like there's errors. And the problem is, if you're not a programmer, you can't look at what it did and determine if it's right or not. I mean, except and when you test it and it just doesn't flat out work, which I've done a bunch of times. I was trying to write a script. I was trying to write a Python script. Just could not, for the life of me, could not. It's very simple Python script, could not get ChatGPT to do it correctly. I tried it like 10 different ways, tried all different things. Finally, just had to do the thing myself. So I'm running into so basically what I'm finding is as I use ChatGPT more, it's almost, in some ways, it's becoming, there are some big problems with it that are making things almost more problematic for me. And what that means is that someone who's not an expert that's using it is going to run into even more problems when they try to run like that script, and it's just not working for them. Now, that's not to say that it doesn't write code well. It's just to say that like there are some problems with it, and sometimes it doesn't work. And like when that happens, you're all of a sudden like, I need to know how to do this myself. All right, so what does all that mean? I think that AI is going to very slowly, maybe not, when I say very slowly, I don't mean like 10 years from now. I mean like it's going to start in months to years, chopping away at bits and pieces of each of those things that I mentioned. We're going to all of a sudden see like it doing PowerPoint. Might be in 6 months, might be in a year. But when I start to see that, when I start to see all those things done well, AI is going to absolutely, in the next 5 years, and I'll say 5 years. I hate saying a time frame because I don't know. It could be in a year from now for all I know. But there's going to be something that comes out, and it's probably going to happen with Adobe or Microsoft. We're going to see big AI tools come out from companies like them. It's going to create simple courses, and that's the start. The start's going to be PowerPoint. We're going to see it creating simple presentations and presentations in PowerPoint. Then we're going to see it create courses. And, you know, someone's going to pop on this video and be like, well, it already does this in PowerPoint. Yeah, I can use like some stuff already in the Microsoft Office tools, but it's very, very, very limited compared to me saying, develop a PowerPoint presentation based on the following topic. Here's my text. Here's some of my images. Create a whole presentation on it. That's not happening. And that's what I'm talking about by replacing us and creating e-learning. We're going to use bits and pieces. And very slowly, what we're going to do is we're going to be able to use bits and pieces. Little by little, we're going to be able to, oh, now I can finally, you know what, text-to-speech is finally really good. It's perfect, and all my clients want it, and that's what we're using now. Oh, you know what? I'm going to create these quick videos. I want a video with this person that does this. They're going to say this. And the video portion's like coming along like actually really good. Like I'm pretty impressed by like what I'm seeing in AI video right now. I'm much less impressed by what I'm seeing in writing because of all the wrong information it keeps giving me. And the programming piece I'm also a little disappointed in as well, which is kind of funny because those are like the main things that ChatGPT does well, and I'm disappointed in them. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to start to see this PowerPoint, very basic, and we're going to see basic courses. And they're going to be in the next, maybe even like 3 to 5 years. Like it's going to be common where we're like, we don't use PowerPoint, we use the AI to do that. Like I don't have to sit down in PowerPoint and like build the interactions. Like I'm just going to type that in and AI is going to do that. Like we're going to see that very soon. At the high level, we're pretty far away. We're far away from high level, like interactive, complicated e-learning courses being developed from AI right now. That's not to say if you watch this video in 6 months from now and there's new information, like using all the information I have now, what I'm seeing companies develop, I think that we're still kind of far away from that happening. I think we are going to see it, but based on what I'm seeing with ChatGPT, I'm not necessarily seeing the e-learning developer going away because unfortunately these tools they can't think for us, and there's lots of issues with it. Like just when I tell ChatGPT to write something, I need to know enough to know when it's wrong and right. And so we're still going to need that. So e-learning development is going to be a lot quicker. It's going to be much faster, but we're still going to need the SME. We're still going to need the e-learning developer to make sure all the stuff is, like, we're still going to need all those pieces to it. Just that development piece is going to be like, 30 minutes versus 2 weeks kind of thing, which is huge. That's huge, but that's where we're coming to. So, all right. So those are kind of my thoughts on like the current state of AI and how it's like moving towards like e-learning development, and what who's focused on e-learning, multimedia development portion of instructional design, because that's not all the instructional designers do at all. But those who are focused on it, like what you should start to like pay attention to, what you're seeing, what I'm seeing on my end. Later, everybody.